Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Eyes Open Network. I have a little bit to share with you today. Despite what's actually being shared in the corporate media or the mainstream media, the garbage networks that tell you a piece or half, or in lots of cases, none of the story, they'll lead to get you to believe that the economy's on, there's nothing wrong with the economy. Status quo. Keep on going. Keep spending, right? Which reminded me this morning of exactly what was happening in 2007, 2008, when we had the United States financial collapse, and in turn was actually, affected the rest of the world because of the United States having their dollar is the reserve dollar of the world. Everybody relies and sells and trades, and well, mostly on the American dollar. So it has an effect right across the world, and that's why it's important that you stay tuned to today's topic. Because what I wanted to do was break it into two pieces. I was going to do one video and just share 10 signs of global financial collapse is coming, and proof of that after doing some research. It's not like I didn't know it was happening, but I needed to find proof so I could prove it to you, so you wouldn't have to do all the research. Okay, so I decided to break it into two parts, and tomorrow I'll share the second five more signs of a global financial collapse is coming. And more importantly, after that, I'm going to share what you can actually do about it. So make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, or make sure that you bookmark our website. So let's dive into things and look at the 5 signs a global financial collapse is coming. Number 1, the out-of-control government debt. The United States of America is literally drowning in debt, and it's very obvious. And the U.S. holdings by far are the biggest total of debt around the world, and they've never seen numbers like this before. Yet American politicians, the U.S., especially in Washington, D.C., are either oblivious to what's actually going on, or they're downright ignorant to the facts. And in fact, I believe personally, it appears that they're doing almost the exact opposite of what should actually be going on with the debt ceiling climbing so high, right? Think about it. It's not almost, it's obvious if you take a look at things. They're not hiding the numbers. The numbers are actually in plain view. You can go search what the actual debt numbers are. But just think about this, though, and I'm going to show you a debt clock. This is the national debt clock, the U.S. debt clock, and it shows the national debt. This is what's actually being reported, and this is how it's actually growing, and it shows the assets in green, of course, and everything. So they're showing over $18 trillion in debt, and that's what they're actually admitting, and that's growing. And in fact, here's another statistic a lot of people don't know about. Did you know that since Barack Obama took office in the United States of America, he's accumulated more U.S. debt for the government and the people of America than all of them, not just the last 3 before him, or the last 5 before him, or the last 10 before him, all U.S. presidents combined. In fact, the debt has almost tripled, since he's become in office. Now, why in the world is mainstream media telling us that everything's fine? Because that's what's being told to them. That's what's being told to them. That's what's being told to the government, to us. Now, it seems almost that they're in the know of something, right? They know that this is going to collapse. In fact, like I said, it almost seems like they want it to collapse, so they're speeding it up. I mean, since Obama took office, things sped up. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, federal debt will climb to almost $27.3 trillion within the next 10 years. $27 trillion. So it's almost going to double again in the next 10 years. Well, that's what they're telling us. But I'm going to suspect that we're never even going to reach that, because the reason number 2 of the signs of the financial global collapse is the fact that the U.S. government debt number is a lie. I know, just think about this. As if $18 trillion doesn't already seem like an astronomical amount of debt to overcome, right? The reality is, though, folks, that a huge number is only the real tip of the iceberg. That $18 trillion is just the tip of the iceberg. If you factor in all the unfunded liabilities to the equation. Like I'm talking about, if we're going to actually come up with a real number, we should be looking at the honest debt number, right? And we need to include Social Security, Medicare, government-backed pension plans, and of course Barack Obama's so-called claim to fame, Obamacare. When all of that is included on top of what they're telling us the debt is, the true debt currently for the United States government is actually way more than that. In fact, estimates of America's true debt range anywhere from $200 trillion to $225 trillion. But how could that be, right? But they're telling us on CNN and the government, when Obama gets up there, he tells us everything's fine. But it's actually simple because the Congressional Budget Office actually produces two sets of books. That's right. Just in their accounting figures, they accumulate two books. And that's really something that every good Ponzi scheme needs, right? Just ask Bernie Madoff. He had two sets of books. Everybody that has been prosecuted for having an illegal Ponzi scheme has two sets of books. They have one set of books is known as and this is the way it is done, the extended baseline forecast, and those are the books that actually get released to the mainstream media journalists, who then go out and report fake numbers to the tax-paying sheeple. And they don't know they're doing it, right? I mean, think about it, because I get a lot of people, and we get emails, and I get people that I talk to all around, and my colleagues, and you get a lot of people wondering why. How could so many people be in on this? In fact, there's not that many people in on it. But if you have control over the media, if you have control over the government, if you can have control over the sheeple who believe everything that they hear, it's not hard to dictate what those employees of those corporations and media corporations are supposed to report. I mean, how are they to know any different, right? And the other set of books, the alternative fiscal scenario, are the actual ones indicating what is really going on in the economy. Now, all anyone has to do, including the mainstream media, is the correct unfunded liability number is well over $200 trillion. And they could find this out, but that's not what they're being told to report on. This is the number that the Congressional Budget Office does not want the general public to know about, so they censor the media because they own the media, not the government. The people, the bankers, the people behind who's controlling the government. And if you don't know who controls the government, on our website, go to Eyes Open Network and watch the information on what is the Federal Reserve. Okay, there's a lot of information about that. Third sign, a global financial collapse is coming. Private business and corporate debt is out of control, which means bankruptcies for these companies, right? In 2006, private business and corporate debt in America skyrocketed from around $2.5 trillion, $2.6 trillion to a whopping $5.8 trillion of debt additional to whatever the government has. And in 2014 alone, the total debt level for non-financial companies inside the United States experienced a rise of over $650 billion in that 1 year alone. And that's more than 6 times faster than the $100 billion these companies added in cash. Now, you need to also keep in mind most of the private sector business debt has piled on prior to 2008 economic crisis. Remember how bad it was in 2008? Well, everything that I just told you and all the corporate debt that's being compiled right now, that's after 2008. Let's take a look at reason number 4 of a sign that the global financial collapse is coming and is really near. The price of crude oil is dropping. You know, nobody's going to dispute that. That's an actual factual number. With the falling price of oil and its current low price, it's causing negative impact on the economies in a number of countries, including Canada, the United States, and any other major Western or first world country. It's like a domino effect happening, and it's going to cause a global financial crisis. The experts are already speculating oil prices of under $40 a barrel, which we have touched but didn't sustain it. And this would be devastating to the world economies already of everything else that's going on. David Tolk, I read this comment from him. He's a lead strategist at TD Securities. He recently said this: the longer oil prices remain low, the greater the chance the investment activity will be curtailed and wider growth imperiled. It's not looking good. I mean, I know when we go to the pump it looks good, right? We don't have to pay as much on gas. But it's going to go even lower than what it currently sits at now. And that spike and that drop is not good for the economies. It's already in bad shape as it is. Now, as the price of oil threatens American shale oil revolution, with the seen significant growth of higher prices, once a booming glimmer of hope of America's dying economy has economies canceling and discounting their drilling contracts. You know, there was a big boom in shale oil in America. Well, a lot of those companies now that were doing so well are actually discontinuing contracts and slowing them down. Number 5, reason for today, 5 signs. This is the 5th of 5 signs of global financial collapse, and it's coming soon. Stores and malls are vanishing. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but I live in a small town, and they're vanishing. They're vanishing quicker in the smaller towns than they are in the bigger cities, or it's easier to notice anyway. A large number of retail stores are closing, and a large number of retail jobs are vanishing as the retail apocalypse continues. Now, I went through and, I mean, there's tons of headlines of this. Just punch in store closings, mall closings, things like that into Google, and you're going to find a lot. So I picked out a few of them as the major headlines to use in this report. The clothing chain Wet Seal is planning to close more than 338 or 66% of its stores and lay off over 3,600 full-time employees at chain store age. Think about that. That's crazy. Another clothing store, Sea Wonder, which is hailed as one of the hottest retailers when it started in 2011, is closing all 32 of its stores. So it was hailed as one of the biggest, hottest retailers to come out in 2011. They're closing all of its stores. Now, 32 stores. Macy's is planning to close 14 department stores and lay off over 2,200 people. Alco, a 113-year-old chain store that operates 198 discount stores across the nation, is closing completely and putting over 3,000 employees out of work. The Wall Street Journal and the company blamed a lingering economic slowdown. Now, what does all that mean? You know, and we're all aware of Sears, which is also known as Kmart, is planning to close up to 116 stores in the next few months, right? Now, what does that mean? Well, America is known not as an industrial nation anymore. They don't manufacturing anything, right? They shift it all over. They're a consumer nation. So what is this telling us? All these stores closing down. All of these malls closing down. Look at this. Just for fun, I found this website. I did search on dead malls, and there's an actual Facebook group dedicated to harvesting or capturing and reporting on all of the malls that are disappearing across America. It's crazy. Check it out. We'll leave a link in the description box below. But go check it out. It's endless. Endless amount of malls closing all over the country. And, you know, it's really spooky and scary to see. And there's an actual Facebook group, so I thought that was kind of neat to add this into the report. You can go check that out for yourself. But what does that mean? Back to, so I don't go too much on a rant there. Well, if we're a consumer nation and consumers aren't buying anything, we're screwed. Think about that. If we're not manufacturing anything, okay, and we're printing money, we're devaluing the dollar, inflation is going up, which means people don't have any money anymore. They can't go shopping, so they're not consuming anymore. There's a collapse happening, folks. I hope you enjoyed the 5 signs a global financial collapse is coming. And this is just the first 5 signs. I'm going to have 5 more signs tomorrow. So make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get the other 5 that I'm pointing out. But most importantly, down the road, is we're going to be producing what you can do about this, right? So it's not all doom and gloom. What we also want to do, something different than that we can do here in alternative media, is we can give you a solution. We're not here to sell you a bill of goods on, you know, making everything look pretty and nice. We're just going to tell you the real facts, and if those facts are bad, then we'll prepare you for the alternative, what you can actually do. Instead of just shrug your shoulders and say, yeah, all the information is bad, what are we supposed to do about it? So stay tuned to that. Like and subscribe. If you like today's or want to comment or even want to provide more proofs on signs that the global financial collapse is happening, post your comment below, either in our article on our website about this report or YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching the Eyes Open Network, and stay tuned for a lot more videos